Welcome to the My Emergency Department Cardiac Arrest Proforma video. We will explain to you why we have designed and how to use the new cardiac arrest scribing form. So you're probably wondering why we've written a cardiac arrest proforma. Well, in March 2021, Dr. Demi Thompson audited our management of all the cardiac arrests that came to Pinderfield's emergency department in 2020, and there were 44 of them. Demi saw that in 32% of the arrests, drugs that we administered were not prescribed on the ED card. 50% of shocks we administered weren't documented. And in 57% of cases, the reversible causes weren't noted down at all. So does this really matter? Just because we haven't documented it, does it mean we haven't treated patients correctly? Well, good documentation really does matter. The General Medical Council Good Medical Practice Guidelines state that we must record our work clearly, accurately and legibly. If we don't write down our management, there is a risk that people could jump to an incorrect conclusion that some of the treatments or medications have been missed. We think we could improve our documentation, so Curtis and the My Emergency Department team have created a cardiac arrest proforma so that we can show that we have given our patients in cardiac arrest the very best management. Important note, only trained ALS providers can run a cardiac arrest in the emergency department. That shouldn't be a problem though, as all doctors have to be trained in ALS management. If no doctor is present, call for help, then basic life support should be started by any trained member of staff until help arrives. The proforma is a 5-page document which covers all parts of adult cardiac arrest management from start to finish. There is enough space on it to document a 20-minute resuscitation, but if your resus goes on for longer, you can always add another sheet. You can find it in the silver drawers behind the nurse's desk in resus, and when they've all been used, the print room have a code for it so we can print more. It's also been put on Chem books for online access. We are now going to show you a simulation in slow time and describe how to use the proforma, starting with the paramedic handover.
Uh, 73-year-old John Smith, with a history of angina and diabetes, suffered a witnessed cardiac arrest at 11:45 a.m. He's been asystole throughout. We've got an eye gel in which seems to be working well. Cannulated on his left ACF, last adrenaline given at 12:06. We just need to rule out any reversible causes.
Write down the patient details if they are available, or attach a patient sticker. It is important that everybody involved in the resuscitation is documented on the form for medical legal reasons, but also so we know who to contact for a debrief. Yes, we'll give a rapid handover, and it's important to capture all pieces of information as it may guide when we give drugs or how long we continue resuscitation. Document any relevant information given by the pre-hospital team. Write down the airway the patient has on arrival and the airway used in the emergency department, as this may change depending on patient need. Okay guys, so we've had handover. Let's start some CPR. Curtis, are you happy with that eye gel?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you can attach some oxygen and the CO2. Charlotte, can you put the defib on please, and we'll just see what rhythm the patient's in. You're happy going with 30 to 2, Curtis?
So a rhythm check, I'll check it, but I'm quite happy with this seal at the minute, so I'm happy for continuous.
Monitor on.
Okay, so just let that start up and we'll see what rhythm he's in. Okay, Chloe, can you have a feel for a pulse for me please? So just looking at the monitor, so he's in asystole.
No
Okay,
pulse.
so let's start our 2 minutes now. Charlotte, if you could press the timer.
Yep.
So it is 10 past 12 now. and he's an asystole, so 2 minutes. Charlotte, if you could pop a line in for me on that right hand side and take a guess, if you wouldn't mind. And when you have a moment after that, if you could put some fluids up, that would be really useful. Thank you. Chloe, are you okay for 2 minutes doing CPR, and we'll ask Charlotte to swap as soon as she's finished?
Yeah.
Thank you. Document all sites of IV and IO access and the size of the cannula used. When the initial assessment has been made, the resuscitation should start to become established and controlled. Every 2 minutes, the team leader should request that CPR is stopped to allow to check for a pulse and assess the rhythm. During a 2-minute cycle, the team leader should vocalise the reversible causes and start to treat each one in turn where possible. Okay, so the last adrenaline was at 6 minutes past 12, and we're a good 5 minutes past that now. So please, would you just give a milligram of adrenaline in that cannula? Thank you.
Adrenaline.
Wonderful, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind just starting those fluids.
So gas that.
Thank you. That's perfect. So Chloe, we've just got 20 seconds and then we're going to stop and have a reassess. After that, Charlotte, if you wouldn't mind taking over CPR, that would be very helpful.
Fluids attached.
Okay, if you want to stop there, just feel for a pulse for me. Looking at the monitor, that's still asystole. Okay, Charlotte, please would you take over CPR? So we're quite established in this arrest now, so I think we should start to go through some reversible causes. So hypoxia. Curtis, are you happy with the top end ventilating okay?
Yep, got a good seal.
Perfect.
Got a good ventilation on it.
Hypothermia. Chloe, will you just have a feel of the patient and just see if he's warm? He was found inside his house, so hopefully he feels warm. So I don't think hypothermia is an issue. Hypovolemia, well, that's always a possibility, but we've got a bag of fluids running in now, and that's running in nicely. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be a problem. Tension pneumothorax. So when we just stop Curtis in a minute, if you would have a listen to the chest either side as you bag, and just let me know if there's some equal air entry there. Cardiac tamponade, well, that's a possibility, but I'm not aware that he's had any cardiac surgery. It doesn't look like he's had any trauma to his chest, so I think that's a less likely cause. So we're just coming up to a minute now. Do you and Chloe just want to swap over, please, Charlotte?
Yep. Perfect.
Every 2 minutes, note down the rhythm the patient is in and any shocks or drugs that have been administered during that cycle. A venous or arterial gas can be very useful when looking for reversible causes, and it can be attached to the form. Okay, so having a look at this gentleman's past medical history, I can see that he's on some medications for his angina and diabetes, but there's nothing which would be considered unusual. So I don't think toxins is likely to be an issue. So we've got 30 seconds, Chloe. I'm just going to keep going through these up until we stop and have another reassess. I've got this gas back, and just having a look, his pH is 6.8. His potassium is normal, and his lactate is 10, so those aren't looking terribly good in all honesty. So we're going to stop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Have a feel for a pulse, please. And he's still in asystole. Have we got equal air entry?
They've got equal air entry and the trachea central.
Okay, so we're continuing with CPR. Would you mind giving another milligram of adrenaline, please?
Adrenaline on it.
Good. Okay, so just another review of the reversible causes. His sugar is 6 and his sodium is 136, so there's again nothing there that we can reverse. So I think the most likely cause is going to be a thrombosis with this gentleman given his past medical history. I think that we should continue for another 2 minutes, if that's okay, as we've made some changes by giving the adrenaline. The audit results showed that most of our resuscitation attempts do not last longer than 20 minutes, so we have included enough cycles for a 20-minute resuscitation. Some resus attempts may last for longer than 20 minutes, for example in the treatment of hypothermia or PE. In that case, you can add an extra one of these sheets to the notes. Okay guys, so we've been going for 20 minutes now and we've been through all of the reversible causes, but the only reversible cause I think it's likely to be is thrombosis. We've corrected everything that we have thought about and we've had no positive outcome from that. So I think at the end of this cycle it's more appropriate that we stop at this point. What are your thoughts, please?
I agree with that one.
Yeah,
Chloe?
I agree.
Stacey? Okay, so we're just coming up to 2 minutes now. So if we stop, we have a reassess any changes on the monitor. He's still in asystole.
No pause.
I think we should stop there, please. And the time is 12:28.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The resuscitation will end when there is either a return of spontaneous circulation or there is a decision not to continue further attempts. This should be a team decision led by the team leader and all times documented. Verification of death is a legal requirement and may occur any time after death but before the patient goes to the mortuary. The time documented should be the time the death is verified and not the time of recognition of life extinct. It is important to inform the family of the outcome of the arrest as soon as is possible and document when that has happened. Finally, we should take time to complete a short debrief. This will identify areas of good practice, but also inform us of areas of improvement and allow us to share any discussion points. There is a debrief form in the folder in recess, and it will be reviewed by the ear angels when it's been completed. So in summary, use a Proforma for all adult cardiac arrest to help improve documentation. Only trained ALS providers can lead a resus, but everyone has a part to play. You can find the forms in the documentation drawers in recess, and if you have any questions, then please come and ask any of the My Emergency Department team. Thank you for listening to us. We really hope you find it useful.